from GB3 to you.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Good morning. We're arguing about whether or not we need to put a clock on Dave's 8th day. I say yes.
We got a pumpkin on there right now.
You can still put a clock.
Once the pumpkin's gone, I'll throw the clock on.
You can still put the clock, Dave.
Daylight saving time ends this weekend, and for us morning show people, we love it because we get that extra hour of sleep, and the sun comes back in the morning, finally.
Very excited. The time changes this weekend. They changed when the time changes. I wish they would just leave it alone.
Me too.
I think that if we did a Facebook poll, there would be a lot of people who would agree with us. Yeah. So maybe we need to do that Facebook poll this morning.
Well, there's some people who love daylight saving time, but they tend to forget that once you get into January, the sun's not going to come up in the morning until after 8.
And I don't have a problem with leaving daylight savings time.
Yeah.
Just leave it one way or leave it the other way. Just leave it alone.
I like standard.
Yeah.
It's standard. It's the way it's supposed to be. 431, 70 degrees right now, or rather 63 degrees with a dew point at 63. So that puts our humidity at 100%. I'm trying to do all the math in my head here today. Ooh. Visibility of 3 miles, and looking at the forecast for today, partly cloudy skies expected. Temperatures will climb into the mid-80s. That doesn't feel like the end of October, does it? We'll have more on your forecast coming up in just a minute.
Oh, gosh. Math this early in the morning, Lizzie, not possible.
No, I can't handle math, most days, so we'll just leave it at that. Well, good morning, Acadiana. Taking a look at traffic this morning, things are looking pretty good. We do want to show you one of our traffic cams this morning. On my way in, this is Calista, Loom, and Camellia. I did notice it was a little foggy this morning, so you might want to just be aware of that if you are out and about early this morning. But no traffic problems this morning, no accidents to tell you about in Lafayette or elsewhere in Acadiana. But remember, be aware of that fog. We will keep you up to date on traffic this morning, as well as any breaking news happening in Acadiana and around the world. And now let's go back across the studio and check in with Kristen Holloway. Kristen, good morning.
Good morning, Lizzie, and good morning, Acadiana. As the town of Basile prepares for their Halloween celebration tonight, the town is also setting up for the 47th year of the Swine Festival. I'll have details on both events, along with a few Halloween updates coming up later in the show. Tracy.
Thanks, Kristen. In the news this morning, a senior official says the Obama administration is considering ending spying on allied heads of state. The White House has been grappling with the fallout from revelations that U.S. intelligence has eavesdropped on German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Senator Dianne Feinstein, chairwoman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, has called for, quote, a total review of all intelligence programs. The only abortion clinic in a 300-mile stretch of West Texas can resume taking appointments after a federal judge struck down new state restrictions that would have effectively shut it down. A judge ruled Monday that the restrictions placed an unconstitutional burden on women wanting to end a pregnancy. The state's attorney general has filed an appeal. President Barack Obama has spoken with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu about Iran's nuclear program, Israeli-Palestinian peace negotiations, and other Mideast issues. The White House says the two leaders spoke by phone on Monday. The meeting comes amid Israeli concerns about diplomatic overtures from Iran. A coalition of business, religious, and law enforcement officials is about to launch a major push to encourage Congress to immediately take up comprehensive immigration reform. But prospects for action this year are dim. House leaders appear unwilling to take up a reform measure already passed by the Senate. Republican Senator Marco Rubio says he's now willing to support a House plan to take a piecemeal approach that reform advocates oppose.
From the KATC Weather Lab, here's Dave's forecast.
Partly cloudy skies here in Lafayette and the rest of Acadiana. Some patchy fog, especially as you get right outside the city this morning. Partly cloudy skies expected later today as our temperatures will climb back into the upper or mid 80s. We're going for 84 for your daytime high. No rain out there this morning. Yesterday had enough sunshine that kicked in, got the temperatures up just enough that it sparked off a couple of isolated showers around Acadiana and a few tropical downpours to go with it too late in the afternoon. Our temperatures though are running well above normal in the low to mid 60s, upper 60s to near 70 degrees along the coast. Normally toward the end of October we should be dropping back into the mid 50s. Well, a decent storm system is going to be developing. One kind of weaker system is going to move here across the Midwest today, not really putting much of an influence on us, but out in the west That's where the next low is going to come in, and it's combined with more of an upper level system that's going to be coming out of the Pacific Southwest. And as it moves eastward, a decent low pressure area is going to spin up now over the middle plains, and that's going to be sending a cold front through the area sometime Halloween evening. And right now it looks like that front's going to be approaching the doorstep probably right at about sunset Halloween evening. So right now it still looks like trick-or-treaters may have some issues with thunderstorms. I think maybe Iberia into St. Mary and St. Martin might be okay. Get those trick-or-treaters out of the way before the rains come in, but anywhere from Lafayette westward looks like a pretty good chance for some thunderstorms. Partly cloudy, warm and humid today, 84. Your wind southeast at 10. Next couple of days staying warm and humid. Then the thunderstorms come in. Now these are going to be mainly late afternoon, evening period, and then tapering off by Friday morning. Weekend looking much better with highs in the 70s. Right now, we're still holding at 70 at 435.
Thanks, Dave. In Lafayette, a family is searching for answers after their loved one's body was found on a road in Scott. Over 3 months ago, a police officer found 24-year-old Craig Durrell's body on Willow Street. Scott police have ruled the death a homicide and say Durrell died from a gunshot wound. And now his family is speaking out in a big way.
If you look up, you can't miss the face of Craig Durrell and the question, do you know who killed me? His family put up the billboard last week.
I think about him a lot. Just wish it was a dream.
Dominique Alexander and Durrell were supposed to get married next year. Together they have 2 children, and wedding preparations were already underway. For Alexander, having to be both mom and dad has not been easy.
Very hard. I'm just waiting for somebody to come. At least call 232 Tips, Scott Police, and give us some type of, answer.
In addition to this $800 billboard made possible by donations, Durrell's family has been putting up flyers in hopes of finding answers.
It's nothing like losing a loved one, especially a close, dear loved one that was so young.
Scott Police says the investigation is ongoing and this car is a vehicle of interest.
Most crimes don't go untold, so they have told someone, and we're just asking for that someone to please step forward.
I'm not mad at nobody because I don't know what went on. I just would love for it to come to a closure.
In Lafayette, I'm Allison Bourne-Fanack for KATC TV3.
Now, anyone with information on this case is asked to call Scott Police or Crime Stoppers at 232 Tips. Meanwhile, in St. Landry Parish, Opelousas police are investigating a body found Monday morning behind a business. Police say when they got to South Union Street around 8 o'clock, they found the person dead inside a car. Investigators are working to determine a cause of death. Back here in Lafayette, police have arrested a 14-year-old boy in connection with a stabbing that happened Monday morning. Investigators say a 39-year-old man was arguing with a woman at a home on Petunia Loop when the woman's teenage son stabbed the man in the chest with a kitchen knife. The victim is in critical condition. The juvenile was charged with attempted second-degree murder. The Louisiana Office of Alcohol and Tobacco Control is investigating a weekend stabbing that may have happened at Karma nightclub in downtown Lafayette. KATC Commissioner Troy Hebert says he has sent an investigative team to the hub city to look into the incident. The team will determine what actions, if any, should be taken by his office. Hebert expects to have more information about the situation later this week. The Schumacher Group is eliminating 42 jobs nationwide. That's including 32 here in Louisiana. The Lafayette Healthcare Company says new developments in healthcare under the Affordable Care Act is partly to blame for the cuts. This marks the 3rd time this year the company has made personnel cuts. The state legislature will meet next week to allow State Superintendent of Education John White and the Bessie president to brief lawmakers on Common Core. Representatives are expected to get background information on all aspects of the new standards so that they can address the concerns of their constituents. Public testimony will not be allowed at that hearing, but the public will have opportunities to weigh in at future committee meetings. Seatbelt use among Louisiana motorists has jumped more than 3% this year to nearly 83%. That's the largest one-year increase in more than a decade. Safety officials contribute the improvement to the Click It or Ticket campaign that began in Louisiana in 2003. Lake Charles has the highest percentage for front seatbelt use, which is 91%. Lafayette has nearly 82%. A U.S. government official tells ABC News third-party negotiators have made contact with the group holding 2 Americans hostage in Nigeria. The official says the FBI in New York is coordinating efforts to get the men back. The ship's captain and chief engineer were kidnapped by pirates Thursday morning off the coast of Nigeria while working on a Louisiana-owned vessel. The men are now believed to be on land. Construction continues at the main library in downtown Lafayette. The new entrance to the library is shaping up. The 2 new stone book spines at the doorway. One says Bibliothèque, the other says Centreville. Both of them together mean downtown library. Bibliothèque. That's one of the French words I remember. Yeah, it's a great word to say too.
And I'm excited to see that new library all done. They've been there in the old Jefferson Street Market, which is still fine, everything. But boy, that library has really been expanding. I think they broke ground on another one.
Yes.
What, Karen Crow or Scott?
It's south. Is it the south area?
The south one is already done.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe it
South
was the east
Regional.
one. I'll have to look at that.
We'll have to check that
They're
out and let
expanding
you
so
know.
fast, but I'll tell you what, and use their app, and their website's awesome too.
You can check out books online. Time now is 4:41. Still to come on GMA. There are still a lot of questions surrounding the State Fair accident that injured several people in North Carolina. Question is, did the ride operator do it on purpose? More ahead.
And remember the lady on the Affordable Healthcare website? She's disappeared. Wait till you see where J.D. Most found her when GMA continues.